Week 12 is upon us, and you guys chose to spend the preview night. It's Friday night. Actually, by the time we release this, I think kickoff will happen for some fun Friday night Big Ten games, at least. Yep. One that I know is coming up. You guys chose to spend it with us, and we really do appreciate that. And I hope you guys really do enjoy our content. This is Two Fans, One Pod. I'm Alex. I have Brandon with me. We love college football. I don't want to. I want to reiterate this to you guys. You know what? We get comments, and I try to address all of you guys, especially the ones who are, definitely putting effort and putting their, heart and soul into these words and trying to convey a message to us. I try to respond to all of you guys, so I really do appreciate you guys all reaching out to us and giving us your thoughts on college football. Please continue to like and comment. If you don't follow us, please subscribe. If you want to follow one of our many socials, I'll make sure to tag all of them.
We're on TikTok, we're on Instagram, we're on Twitter, we're on YouTube, we're everywhere. We're everywhere you would like us to be.
And we're working to get, we're trying to hit that podcast community too. We should be releasing to Spotify, but for now we're going to try to hit every avenue we can, and we really do appreciate all you guys' support. We are working towards that 100 subs. I want to get it by the end of the season. I want to get 100 subs by the end of the season.
I think we can. I think
it's possible.
Why not?
Yeah.
Why not us?
And I think that'll be our goal. So if you guys help us get there, I think we'll do, we'll figure out a nice giveaway for someone in our 100 subs. Give them something nice. Let's dive into these picks. Let's dive into these picks. Obviously, always going to be SEC heavy. I think going forward, especially November, these games are the most important when it comes to SEC, especially with how many teams and their records, who could potentially still go to the SEC championship. November is always the month in college football. We know this. We saw it last week. This is the month where championship teams start to really evolve into what their template is going to be for the postseason. So, we look at teams like Alabama and Oklahoma, two teams that apparently are on track to play in the college football playoff. They're now playing against each other. So the ramifications from this game, we don't even need to talk about, where this ends up in the playoff view, because I'm pretty sure the loser is just out. I know Bama fans are probably going to come at me on that one, but if Alabama loses this game, I don't know if they make it to the SEC championship with Georgia and Texas A&M playing the way they're playing. And ultimately, that could mess them up for another year and just put them right outside. Oklahoma would have a much better chance of making the playoff than Alabama with the head-to-head. So the ramifications from this game alone is crazy. But what's even crazier is when you look at the stats of both of these teams. Absurd. Oklahoma is not, we've seen John Mateer kind of gimping around a little bit here and there. He hasn't quite been what he was in September. What I saw, what I wanted to put money on for a Heisman winner, what we can't do in this stupid state. Their numbers have regressed. I'm not going to argue that. Oklahoma on offense does not look good. And a lot of it comes from the lack of the run game. And the run game is hindering them awfully. But you know who else has an awful run game? Alabama. These are two of the worst run games. And I'm not even going to, I don't want to put too much discredit to Oklahoma because their biggest flaw would be their run defense, but it's not awful. You're still holding teams to less than 150 yards on the ground. I don't necessarily like the matchup, but if Alabama has already not been able to produce on the ground, am I really worried about this Oklahoma rush defense? I got one of my big things to look out for is Oklahoma. Are they going to be able to stop the pass? That's what it comes down to. If you force Alabama to be one-dimensional, we talk about this 100,000 times. But the thing is that pass game, if you're able to shut it down, the red zone becomes a completely different game for you. Both of these teams have elite red zone defenses. Points are going to be a premium here, especially with how both of these defenses have performed throughout the year. The biggest, another huge thing that I'm looking at here is the inability for Oklahoma to make major plays on defense. And I'm talking turnovers specifically. Takeaways, they're bottom 10 in the country. actually, on defense. And they're giving the ball away at a pretty average rate. Actually, pretty suboptimal, I would say. Not great also when it comes to discipline. One of the worst teams when it comes to penalties. So those are the things that kill this team, is the turnovers and the penalties, obviously. I don't know, Brandon. What do you see here? Before I give my pick, I want to hear what you got to say, because this was tough.
No, and the discipline issues will be the things that continue to kill this team. And I know that you mentioned that Alabama, their rushing game has not been really existent this year. And Oklahoma's rush defense has been, they're kind of, I feel like that's been the strength of this defense, is their rush defense. But the thing is Alabama has not needed to, they haven't needed really to run the ball at all to win any games. So what's going to make, what's any different for this game, I think Ty Simpson's going to come out and he's going to deliver. I think John Mateer is still hurt and he's not going to deliver. I think that, the Alabama offense is just firing on all cylinders. I think there's too many weapons for Oklahoma to stop. I feel like Oklahoma's most dominant win this year was against Michigan. And, coming from a Michigan fan right now, I mean, that's not that impressive. I'm going to be honest. You guys went up against a freshman quarterback, a team that relied on the run, and you out-physicaled them, as you should, as an SEC team. And that was not easy for me to say. I see you smirking right now, but that is the fact of the matter. I think Kalen DeBoer is ready for this challenge. And I think it's going to come down to, just like you said, down the stretch, what's going to happen. You know what I mean? And I think that this game is going to be a 4-quarter game in which Alabama is going to seal the victory in the second half for sure. I think it does start out a bit slow, but I think Ty Simpson is it's just a quarterback play for me. And Ty Simpson has been a great quarterback so far this year. They're pretty healthy too. I mean, the Alabama team is pretty damn healthy so far as well. I'm going with Bama all the way for this game. I think it's not even going to be close. I think it starts off slow, but then Bama takes it away in the second half. It's just a tough team to stop. They don't need to run the ball. They haven't.
Oklahoma's numbers in their strength categories are not just like, hey, we're like top 10. And they are number 1 in a lot of categories when it comes to, I'm talking when it comes to even offense and defense. We're tracking at Two Fans One Pod. We're tracking the havoc margin for everyone. The same way there's a turnover margin in the game. We want to know what is the net tackle for losses that your team is producing and allowing. So right now, Oklahoma is 40th in the country in tackle for losses per game. And they just don't give up tackle for losses on offense. They produce on offense, which is something it's not, you don't see it. So their margin is the best in the country. They are able to grind out wins, and they're able to out physical teams, just like you said with Michigan. They find ways to win. It's difficult to doubt this team. Unfortunately, in this case, it's in Tuscaloosa.
And that too. Thank you. Forgot about that.
And it's Alabama. And Kalen DeBoer, in memory, he always does well against the teams that are ranked high and the games that have the most hype. People are talking about Oklahoma a lot. I don't hear a lot about Alabama, even as you and I talk about this. I like Alabama in this spot. I think mentally, and I think even physically, what I see on paper, the stats, I think Alabama wins this matchup more often than not. And I'm going to take the bait. I'm going to take that 6.5 line right now.
I'm going to take all 12.5.
Oh, wow.
That's how I think Alabama's going to dominate them. And I know that, like, according to our model, the Oklahoma, what's it called? Their defense, the numbers might not be like it shows that they're rushing yards a game, like aren't. But against ranked opponents, they're top 15 in the country. So we do have to factor that in. I think their most recent game might have kind of slipped them down a bit on that. But it's a Brent Venables defense that's, focuses on the run. And, I just think Alabama's going to tear it up in the air.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, this is the team. It's just a dynamic offense. This is the team that, didn't allow Alabama to go to the postseason and play in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. This was the team that took you out. I mean, this is a huge revenge game. I think mentally beyond that, Alabama, I think, it's almost like when people talk about this game, I heard Pate talk about it in Klatt. I mean, they're almost talking about it like Alabama is like, they could lose this game in a lot of aspects. I do really like Alabama here. I'm gonna take the bait. I'm gonna take the 6.5.
I love Bama.
God be with us, really. Okay, let's go to another spicy matchup in the SEC.
Spicermans.
Which is not. It's not going to be the college game day morning location, which I was very, very confused about. I know they already did Georgia earlier in the year, so I feel like they're not allowed to do it twice in 1 year. But this was an exciting game both times this happened last year. And Texas had every reason to win last year. And right now, Vegas is kind of telling me with this line, Georgia being 6.5-point favorites, they think Texas is going to keep up with this team. 6.5 is the bait line, is it not?
This game is going to be tough. This is a tough one. You know what? Like, as much as I do, like, listen, Georgia, they have every game so far has been a close one except for the Mississippi State game. I do think that Mississippi State game was a statement game. I think they needed that game to kind of like get the ball rolling and be that dominant Georgia team that we're all used to them being. And Georgia's strength is running the ball. They have a fast, physical, or more so a physical, tough team. They have some fast playmakers on there as well. With Zachariah Branch, I believe he's healthy. He's going to play for this game. That's huge for them too. Gunnar Stockton he's been great. He's played his role to the best of his ability, and he's done a really good job of doing that. And the Georgia defense is the Georgia defense. Now, on the Texas side of the ball, I see an offense that is starting to kind of come together. Arch Manning is starting to get more comfortable in that offense. I believe he made a joke that like he thinks the concussion kind of helped him out a bit or something, or snapped him out of whatever group funk he was in. And I think it's more so I think he's just getting more and more comfortable in that system. The number one thing that does concern me with Texas, though, is their inability to get the run game going. So that's going to be interesting because I think like, especially in a matchup like this, you need to be able to do that against a tough defense like Georgia. You need to keep them honest. So that's the number one thing that worries me in this game. But I do think it's going to be a close one just because of the effectiveness of the Texas defense. Texas defense is the top 3 defense in the country. I think we both can agree on that. I mean, they really held their own to get in the shoe first week of the first game of the season. You know, that was a close game pretty much until the very end. Arch Manning was probably the reason they lost that game. But you know, you went up against like the most explosive offense in the country and really like held your own the entire game. So that was a really promising game for them as well. I am leaning more on the Texas spread for this game, as you can clearly tell. Hook 'em horns. I don't know if they win outright, but this game will be interesting, man, because it is a must-win for Texas as well. You know, you can't have another loss. You cannot do that. I believe Georgia only has the one. So it's going to be interesting. For
this game, first of all, 50.5, that is not what I saw the last 2 times these teams
Is that what
played.
the total is at?
50.5 is the over-under. Now, it's a weird number. That number, and I took a second look at that number, and I was like, why is this the case? This Georgia team, when you take a second look at it, this is not Georgia. This is not the Georgia I remember under Kirby Smart that is crazy elite on defense and does not. I mean, they're really like actually on third down, not very great. They're not really creating any turnovers on defense. They're kind of, you know, they're bend, but
they're sticking in the game.
Yeah,
they're playing a full 4-quarter game, and then they pull it off at the end.
They pull it at the end. So they don't make the big flashy plays. They don't get the 10 sacks a game like they were during their championship run. And as a result, that havoc margin that we talked about is one of the worst in the country. Actually, they barely get any tackle for losses, you know, in a game in general. So I think on paper, Georgia looks pretty vulnerable here. I mean, Texas's offense is not really great. If you look at their numbers, they're in the middle of the pack to the lower 50% in the country in most categories offensively. But the one thing is their third down conversions, kind of middle of the pack. Guess what? Georgia's third down defense, kind of middle of the pack. They allow other teams to get more time of possession. I am worried for Sark in this game. I'm going to be honest with you guys. Mentally, I don't think Sark can handle this game. I saw 2 times last season when he played this game, he crumbled. Halftime, his halftime interviews, there was like, you could see face was red. teeth were gritting, and you saw it, man. There was fire in his eyes. He was angry because he felt like he was getting cheated on calls and all stuff. I mean, I have never seen this guy more emotional than when he plays against Georgia. They're headed to Athens. And
they're headed to Athens.
They're headed to Athens, and Georgia, 6.5 points. It is just one of those. I don't know. It's going to be difficult to press the button. Texas, I will say, the one thing that they have going for them is that defense. I mentioned that Georgia, when it comes to creating takeaways, creating opportunities for your team to get short distance, Texas is elite at it. Georgia is awful at it. So the one scenario I see with Texas being able to take this game and put it into their control is to get a few early takeaways and then kind of get it out of reach of Georgia. Georgia has been in the back seat on a lot of games coming up to the season. But I mean, I'm talking with what they did to Vanderbilt, get that 17+ point lead early. That just takes,
don't give it up.
And don't give it up. You don't even have to. You can give up a little bit. You can give it up. I mean, just like make the last play, right?
We saw the Ole Miss Georgia game.
Exactly.
Georgia was able to come back. Exactly.
And they just kept, and Ole Miss kept scoring, and Georgia. But the thing is, that was always a 1-possession game. I think at most it was a 9-point game, so it's like not really technically a 1-possession game. But Ole Miss had again, do not allow Georgia the opportunity to come back in the game late, because that's what they do best. So I'm going to give that to Texas. If you create early turnovers, that might just seal it. That being said, I'm taking Georgia here. I'm taking Georgia -6.5. I think even if it goes up, I'll probably still take it. Georgia is a very, very good team, and I think it comes down to coaching in this scenario. I trust Kirby Smart way more in this specific matchup more than Sark. And I know that Georgia is not that usual elite, dominant on offense and defense team, but they're scrappy. They'll find ways to win. And if you make one mistake, they will make sure to capitalize on that. They will.
And with Arch's track record,
what did we talk about those yards last week that he had? Those fake yards. What do you got here?
Yeah, I'm going with the Texas spread. I do think it'll be a scrappy game, though. Yeah, I don't think they win this game. I wouldn't be surprised, but I don't think they do. I think it will be the Texas spread. I think it is going to be a scrappy game all the way till the end, and it will come down to the mistakes being made, whether it's on the Georgia side or the Texas side. And those mistakes will come late in the game.
Yep. Couldn't have said it better myself, even if I am riding the Georgia. I mean, a scrappy game can end in 7. You never know.
Yeah.
We'll be sweating it. You and I both know we'll be sweating
Oh, my goodness.
Another SEC matchup I want to highlight because I think it's just fun to talk about this game. Florida heading to Ole Miss. Which is your wagon. So I'll let you start off here.
Oh, yeah.
Florida, famously does not have a head coach anymore. Nope. DJ Lagway, we've seen enough, right? Can you tell me, what do you think about this game? Initial thoughts.
Well, first of all, this will be cool because, it's one of the places that Lane Kiffin might end up, one of the 7-8 places that everybody's drawing him to. So I'm sure he's got that in his mind for sure. So that'll be fun to watch. But this game, I think it's just going to come down to Ole Miss running up the score. I really do think so. I think that's going to be the main thing here. I know that Florida is a really tough defense, but unfortunately, because of their offense and the ineffectiveness of it, I think Ole Miss is just going to basically put more points on the board than Florida. I believe their star receiver is out for the year. He only played in a couple games too because he started off hurt. So they were able to redshirt him, which is nice. He gets another year of eligibility, but there's just not any playmakers there. I do think whether DJ Lagway plays or not, I just feel like the morale isn't there. I feel like the offense is just very deflated. That locker room is deflated. They're just ready for the season to end, it seems like. And then plus this is in Ole Miss's house. So I think that the hype is just going to be at an all-time high for Ole Miss. I think they're ready to finish the season off strong. I think that they're hearing all the noise. And, we see it. They're trying to give, 4 spots in the CFP to SEC teams. So a lot of teams can get knocked out, Oklahoma upsets Bama. Texas upsets Georgia, boom, Ole Miss could be out. Because we all know that the committee does favor Texas over Ole Miss. So it'll be an interesting one. I think Ole Miss needs a dominant win in this game, and they're going to get one. I think that's they want to make a statement, and I think that's what's going to happen in this game. A statement win.
I mean, you cover the big stuff. I think this is like a spotlight game for Lane Kiffin as a coach. I mean, there's this guy. I mean, he's kind of won over the hearts of a lot of people, I would say, this season. Yeah. Especially if you're an Ole Miss fan. You're in love with the guy. You don't want him to leave. But this is really, I would say, this is his resume that he's putting out this game. I don't think, I couldn't possibly comprehend what it means to beat the team that you want to work for.
And they want you.
I feel like this is such a big moment for him in his career. So this is real pressure. This feels like real pressure to me, and I've seen him crumble under real pressure, for the record.
What's the spread?
The spread is 13.5. Mm-hmm. Hear me out. Ole Miss, the glaring things, I pulled up the stats. You and I can see that. Ole Miss is excellent at creating turnovers. We talk about... Sorry, I misspoke. Florida is excellent at getting turnovers, but really, like Lagway, when he throws, every opposing secondary looks good against DJ Lagway. Every single one. And this team, this Ole Miss defense that really is bottom 25 in the country on creating turnovers on defense, might actually have an opportunity to increase their turnover margin. I mean, they don't give away the ball very well. I mean, very much. They're excellent. They're excellent on offense. We don't need to talk about that. On defense, there's a couple of things. I mean, I look at it maybe Ole Miss will not win the time of possession in a bad way. Maybe because Florida offense is decent at time of possession. Maybe that's something that comes and bites them in the ass. I mean, is DJ Lagway gonna make the right throws? I don't think so. And then also Florida red zone defense needs to do its job. That Florida red zone defense that I saw earlier this year that's kind of been squandering a little bit, that defense needs to do its job. It's top 25 in the country, and it's also top 50 in the country in touchdowns specifically. So that defense needs to do its job. Ole Miss is all about the short plays, getting yards, chunk yards. I mean, no one is a true downfield passer, it feels like, anymore in college football. It doesn't feel like that. So really it's about chunk plays. You're going to get those red zone possessions. And that Florida defense that I saw better show up if they want a chance to keep the game close. That same defense that held Georgia to 24. That being said, I'm still taking Ole Miss here. It's the 13.5 points. I know that sounds like a lot, but this team is fully capable of doing that against a 100%. Very mentally and physically squandered Florida team. It's unfortunate. But Ole Miss, I would take them to cover here. That covers the SEC. We're done. Goodbye, SEC. Okay? Gosh.
They always got to hog it.
Why? Yeah, come on. Why do we start with it, too? I want people... You know what? Get in our comments and yell at us for starting with the SEC.
Please.
Let's head over to the Big Ten. Big Ten. I still do enjoy watching the Big Ten, but I think it's because I'm biased.
Yeah.
I'm being honest. I'm probably biased, but I really do. I love the grit. I love the physicality of just like earning wins by grinding out yards. That's football. That's peak football for me. So, speaking of grinding out wins, Michigan at Northwestern. I'm gonna let you start here too, Mr. Blue.
Mr. Blue, thank you, sir. You can see how excited I am to talk about this one. Yeah, this game right here, I mean, Northwestern has been so scrappy all year. They have really stayed in a lot of games till the very end. I mean, they pulled off an upset against Penn State. They got Franklin fired, pretty much. Yeah. The game against USC, I mean, I don't know if you watched that game, but they really were in it up until that like pick six that turned into a touchback because the lineman fumbled it and then the whole momentum just like shifted.
Yeah, and then
USC was playing and then the USC run game looked really good against them. That was, I think, the key as well.
Northwestern's not a bad team at all. I don't think anyone...
Yeah, I know.
I mean, that team is good, and on defense they're kind of showing up too a little bit.
Yep. Yep. Their defense, they have the ability to make plays. I do think though that the fatigue maybe is starting to kick in a bit as the season goes on. I do think that this is going to be a tougher defense than they have played in recent memory, tougher than USC. And I think that Michigan is going to have the ability to run the ball on them. What I'm worried about is Michigan relying too much on the run. And I mean, they have to, right? Because we've seen how bad the passing game is, whether that's Bryce and him being a freshman or the schematics. I lean more towards the schematics. That's what I think is the case here. So you have a Northwestern passing defense that's exceptional against a Michigan passing offense that is not exceptional. So I think that this game is going to come down to the play calling, I think. Michigan definitely, they have the edge in terms of the defense. Like I mentioned, they have the edge in terms of the running game. So if they're able to play a Michigan-styled game and get the victory, I could see that happening. I don't think it's going to be a pretty victory. What's the spread?
I got 11.5. It might be, I don't know. That was from this morning.
Oh, my God.
It's pretty gross.
That's too high. That's too high.
Why not?
That's too high.
Why not?
I'm a doomer. I that's how I am with all the teams I'm a fan of. That's just always how I am with the Commies, with Michigan. Just always been a doomer. And I believe Justice Haynes is hurt still. So Michigan, I know they're banged up a bit on the defensive side of the ball as well. They were missing Jimmy Rolder, I believe, last week. A couple other guys. So it's going to be a scrappy game. Northwestern will cover, unfortunately. Michigan will win the game. And I think it's going to go over the total points. I don't even know what the total points are, but I think it's going to be one of those games where I could see Northwestern taking the lead early on in the game, and then Michigan kind of having to claw their way back and securing a victory, 6-point victory, that sort of thing. Hopefully, Bryce Underwood can get going this game. I think if he's able to use his legs, that will open up the passing game as well. So that'll be interesting. It'll be an interesting game.
There's a couple of spicy matchups. First thing I want to touch about Northwestern is, first of all, that I love that the program is coming back as being relevant. Pat Fitzgerald, that whole fallout, and then I saw, the other day, I was listening to the College Game Day podcast with Reese Davis and Pete Thamel, and they were interviewing him after he won the court case where he's now allowed to, become a coach. I mean, he got a settlement from the school for wrongful termination. Very interesting story, what's going on with Northwestern. And Pat Fitzgerald is eligible to be a head coach in the FBS again. Who knows? He might be Penn State's head coach. So, I mean, Northwestern is such a... The things I want to hone in on is those wins that they have. The 5 or so wins, I'm counting Western Illinois, UCLA, UL Monroe, Penn State, and Purdue. Those are their 5 wins. They have substantial losses against Oregon and against USC, both of them ranked. And then Nebraska and Tulane kind of took care of business.
That Nebraska game was close.
It was a close game, too.
That Nebraska game was close for a second.
I understand. Yeah, but here's what worries me, is that this Michigan team is kind of coming into form. And Northwestern is, just like you said, it's become stagnant. I mean, this is November we're talking about here. I'm worried that Northwestern won't be able to keep up. Here's the 3 things that I honed in on. Northwestern is not really great at stopping the run. They're 98th in the country in yards per rush allowed, and they're going against a team that's top 5 in yards per rush gained. That's an awful matchup for them. I also don't like the passing situation for Michigan. That's the big red flag. It's the one.
That's the
red
question
flag.
mark.
Is if the run game gets stopped, which I already don't like the matchup necessarily. If that run game gets stopped, they have to rely on the pass, and that's the one thing Northwestern has been able to do well this year. The 22nd in the country in their pass defense. And then finally, it's really about playing a clean game. Northwestern has shot themselves in the foot with with their giveaways. It's not great. They do have a decent, they're averaging over 1 takeaway a game, but their margin is in the trash because they're giving away the ball too much.
Yep.
So Michigan, on the other hand, is top 20 in the country in both of those categories, both takeaways and giveaways. So it's just not a great matchup. I think if it comes down to the trenches, the physicality is not going to be there. The takeaways show that. I got Michigan, 11.5.
Yeah. One thing that I'll also add on top of everything that you said is Northwestern, their wins came against teams that were one-dimensional.
Yeah.
The reason why USC was able to kind of run away in that game was because of the threat of the passing attack, and that allowed them to open up the run game as well. It was a more unpredictable offense. So my worry is that Michigan's offense isn't going to be as unpredictable as USC. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I'm just double checking because I don't want to misspeak. Yeah, okay. All the teams are also sub 500. I'm pretty sure there's probably 12 to 15 wins between those 5 teams, by the way. So again, it's not a discreditation to Northwestern. You guys have you have 5 wins this season, substantially.
They've had moments.
Yeah, substantially better than last year. I mean, at one point they were 5-2. They were in conversation to be ranked. I mean, and then they got a reality check for the next 2 weeks, and now they got to deal with Michigan at home. I just feel like that's a November thing. That's what happens. Northwestern is kind of they're crumbling. It's okay. Happy to hear that. Iowa at USC. More people have this game, I think, pinned than you would think. What's going on with Iowa? Okay, first of all, actually, hold on. Time out. Before you dive into this, I want you to tell me, do you feel like USC is on the right trajectory right now? And do you feel like,
I think so.
Do you feel like they have a reasonable chance at the playoffs this year?
Reasonable chance in making it, or like once they're in it in competing
Just to make it.
Just to make it, yes, I do think so. I think that the offense is, it's been a great offense all year, and I think the defense is starting to kind of come together a bit more. Is it a great one? No. But do they have the ability to, play some tougher opponents and make some plays and win games? Absolutely. This game will be a very interesting one. It's an Iowa team that, held their own in every single game so far this year, really. They're a tough team. They're a physical team. USC, I know that they're a new addition to the Big Ten, but they are not a Big Ten physical team. So this is going to be an interesting one. I think this game is going to rely on the passing attack. I think USC's passing attack is probably, in my opinion, I think they have a top 3 passing attack in the country, just based off of the playmakers that they have and the way they're able to get them into open space. Mekhi Lemon is extraordinary. I'm blanking out. Jacoby Lane is such a dominant physical receiver. I mean, both of those guys are just so good. And then King Mack, I believe that's the running back's name, the freshman's. Yeah, he is just electric as well. I mean, this offense is just coming into form. I think it's just too many weapons for Iowa to keep their eye on. And I think the reason why Iowa was able to keep it close against Oregon was because, yes, I know Dante Moore is a dynamic quarterback, and he did win them the game in the stretch at the end. But I mean, DeCorian Moore was out, and they were able to hone in on that rushing attack. You know what I mean? USC is just a much more unpredictable offense, and I think that's going to be the thing that takes them into the college football playoffs. That's going to be the thing that helps them finish the season strong. So yeah, I do like USC in this game. I do like them to cover. I think Iowa is pissed off about their, the game against Oregon. I mean, it was tough. It was a tough loss for them.
Crazy.
But yeah, I think USC is ready to roll. I think they had this, like that Northwestern game, it was close for a second, and they were able to come off with a win. And I think that they were really prepping for this game because they know that this Iowa team is going to be a physical one.
Yeah.
So I think Lincoln Riley's ready for this.
I like. To be honest, this was difficult for me. I do like Lincoln Riley here in this position, and here's what I'll say. I as far as what's the narrative for this game, what I've been hearing everybody, all the casters talk about is that this Iowa physical team is not going to be able to match up with USC. And you did mention that USC is not a very physical team. I think they matched up well with Michigan when they played. They out-physicaled a very physical program. I was going through the numbers here. I mean, there's really not a lot of red for either of these teams. They're both excellent on both sides of the ball. Obviously, Iowa does not have a pass game. The run game of both of these teams tell 2 very different stories. I see one team, top 25 in the country, top 10 in yards per rush. They're also number 2 in the country in yards per game. That's USC. Mm-hmm. And then you have Iowa, who's also still top 50 rushing. And you look at the numbers, they're top 50 rushing also in yards per rush gain. and they're somehow bottom 4 in the country in passing. How are they even winning these games? That is the power of true physicality. So the narrative, it makes sense to me. Actually, it makes a lot of sense. Iowa is winning a ton of games, and they're bottom 15 in the country in yards gain per game. And they're not even, I mean, they're allowing a lot of tackles for losses. They are netting not that many positive plays per game. But this team, their physicality will just win the game. It's impossible to describe to people. The run game is going to be the defining factor here. I think whoever's able to run the game wins the game. That's it. You get the possession, you'll get the yards, you'll get the red zones, you'll get, even if you settle for field goals, doesn't matter. If you keep the time of possession with the run game going, you win the game. That's what happens here. And it turns into a Big Ten game. I just think that USC was able to out-physical. I think they can do it again at home. I love this team at home to be able to out-physical Iowa. Done deal. I'm going to take USC minus 6.5.
Boom. I'm with you. Riding with you.
It's tough.
At home, too?
It's tough to put money against this team. And considering the gauntlet that they have to face for the remainder of the season between Washington and Oregon, and it's going to be a tough ride home. But USC also does have a vision for the postseason if they can just somehow close this season. And I think this is the defining moment for them. I want to highlight just a few more matchups like across the league outside of what we normally go for. Notre Dame at Pitt. This ended up being a College Game Day selection, and I'm so happy for Pitt. Actually, you might think I would hate Pitt because but that rivalry between Pitt Penn State, that was before my time, you guys. They tried to renew it, and Pitt did beat us when they had James Conner, and our season was kind of like, who knows what's going to happen with Trace McSorley. Ended up having a crazy season that year. This Pitt team is a little bit different. This Pitt team is not necessarily relying on their running backs the way I remember, for the past 15 years. How long has Pat Narduzzi been there? 12, 13, 14 years now?
A while.
Yeah, and I'm wondering, since the identity, I don't remember ever seeing someone like this Heinschel guy being at the helm of this team. And I know what you're going to say. Kenny Pickett, he's pretty close. No, dude. Heinschel is much better than Kenny Pickett. Then this guy is a child.
I agree.
He's an 18-year-old kid up for freshman of the year.
Yeah.
Okay, talk to me. Just tell me.
He's looked good. He's looked good against man coverage, but he still does have the ability to make mistakes. Notre Dame runs a lot of man coverage. Notre Dame's strengths. What's their strength? You tell me. What's their on offense? What's their strength?
They have the two best running backs in the country. So
they have the two best running backs in the country. Pittsburgh. What's their strength on defense?
I know. I understand. That's the elite matchup.
That too.
That's the matchup.
So it's gonna be a quarterback matchup.
That's it.
Because I think the run game is gonna be stagnant in the beginning. I do think that it's gonna be a 4-quarter game. My fear is that Notre Dame is able to compete for all 4 quarters and come away with a victory.
Always.
But I think that this Pittsburgh team has something. There's something in the air. I'm a sucker for narratives. I love all the hoopla. You know me. I love all the storylines, all that. College Game Day's in town. The game's at Pittsburgh. Aaron Donald's getting his jersey retired. This is going to be a packed-out stadium.
I have just heard about that this morning.
How awesome would it be to spoil Notre Dame's year? You know what I mean? And I think that's what's going to happen here. I think Pittsburgh is going to come away with a W. I think it's going to be a physical game, and I think it's going to go to the very end, and I think that freshman QB is going to make plays down the stretch that is going to get this offense going and come away with a victory. I'm a gambling man, and you gotta put your chips in the middle sometimes, okay? And that's what we're going to do, and we're going to go all in on Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh coming away with the dub. Come on. We got a physical game on our hands.
Okay, here's the...
But real quick.
Yeah.
CJ Carr is really good, though. I really do like CJ Carr. Just to level myself, CJ Carr, I think, is... I actually think he's like a top 3 quarterback in college football. And I'm really excited for what's to come in his career. I believe he's either a freshman or a sophomore. He's really good. He is really good. So it's going to be interesting to see how the Pittsburgh defense stops him, because I do think they're going to have the ability to stop the run. So it's going to be a quarterback matchup. I think that Pittsburgh's quarterback makes some mistakes, but I think he's able to capitalize down the stretch, and they're able to come away with the victory. Come on!
Here's the thing. I didn't even look at Pittsburgh's defense here, because I think that offense is what they've been relying on to win games. So the matchups for me, it's like, okay, cool. I see that they have top 3 run defense in the country. I accept that. And you know what? As a result, they have one of the worst pass Ds in the country as well. Bottom 40 in the country.
Correct.
So obviously they're not elite across the board. They can be, I mean, look, if you somehow find a way to stop Jeremiah Love, Heisman candidate, by the way, and then Jadarian Price also probably would end up top 25 in the Heisman voting, if we're being honest with each other. So
he's a dog.
Both of them are NFL starting running backs. So the question becomes, okay, cool. You stop that. You're going to tell me you're going to stop CJ Carr too. Cool. I don't believe that. So I think Pittsburgh defense, you're kind of F no matter what. I'm so sorry, guys. The question becomes this Pittsburgh offense for me, because that's what I've seen that before. Pittsburgh has been in freaking track meets, and they just have to win by outscoring the other team, right? It happens against Clemson. I've seen it many, many times against Clemson, and against Notre Dame even I've seen it before, where it'll go to multiple overtimes. Here's the thing. Notre Dame, on the other hand, they have actually not a great pass defense. Also, potential shootout, fun. Also, have a pretty good rush defense, whereas Pittsburgh kind of abandoned their rush altogether. So you're telling me that this Notre Dame defense that knows that they're going to handle that rush, no problem, and they're not focusing on how to handle Heinschel as well. Notre Dame is coming into form. All they have to do is win out. They don't even have to play a conference championship, and they go to the playoffs. That's all they have to do. That's all they have to do is they have to win out. They control their own destiny. I have more faith in Marcus Freeman and this Notre Dame team to run the table for the rest of the season, and that includes that includes this Saturday, and they're going to cover. I've taken them from 12.5.
I think that I understand.
You know who else was 12.5 point underdogs?
Talk to me.
When they had to play against Texas Tech, and they had a freshman QB who's playing out of his mind.
But guess what? I don't think Notre Dame handled. I think Texas. The difference between these two matchups, Texas Tech knew that BYU was on their schedule, and they knew that they were a threat. I don't think Notre Dame knew that they were going to be in this position with 2 losses, going against a freshman QB that they really don't have too much information, too much tape on, in a much more unpredictable offense. That's the theme of this episode today. A lot of unpredictable, offense going on. Come on, it's November. It is November. This is going to be a great game, and Pittsburgh will come away with the victory. Come on.
2 fun facts before we head to the next 2 games.
Oh God, here it is. And this is where you shits all my dreams.
It's just a few. Pittsburgh is bottom 20 in the country in giveaways per game, and they're also bottom 15 in the country in penalties per game. So we'll see how the game goes and plays out for Pittsburgh.
We'll see.
They got a little bit of
a lot of kicking woes for Notre Dame too.
A little bit of spotlight this game. This is a big game for Notre Dame because this is only a resume builder if they win this. Let's head over to the Big 12. I got the good matchup, which I think is, and then I also have a kind of maybe a suboptimal matchup. It might not be fun to watch. I might be completely wrong on it, and I want to apologize in advance for everyone who's going to take that pick no matter what. Let's start with the crazy one, TCU at BYU. Right now, BYU is 3.5. Actually, okay. Any thoughts on this game? I know Bear Bachmeier kind of had not the best performance against Texas Tech, but that team is.
I mean, I'm not gonna hold that against.
That team is scary.
That team doesn't belong in that conference anymore. I really don't think so.
That's a full.
The money behind it, the just the talent, everything.
They're embarrassing teams in the Big 12. Their one loss was their backup quarterback, and they almost won. They basically, anyway.
They're a great team. Bear Bachmeier is a great quarterback too. I think he's done a really good job of being a dual threat quarterback in the game this year. So I do like BYU in this matchup. I think TCU does have the ability to stay in the game, so I understand the 3.5 line. But overall, I think that BYU is going to out-physical this TCU team. I am a fan of the TCU's quarterback. I think he has the ability to make some plays. He has the ability to throw the ball. He can spin it for sure. But BYU is just, I think, they're just a better team overall. I know how that sounds, but at least on the defensive side of the ball. I mean, I just think they're going to out physical them. I don't think that TCU has shown the consistency through a 4-quarter game to win games. A lot of the times I feel like when I'm watching them, it's one of those games where they, they'll get the lead early and then they'll keep it. It's just one of those games, or it's sloppy. A lot of TCU's games are sloppy, and I think BYU is the opposite of that. BYU is a very, well-oiled machine. So it's going to be an interesting matchup. We'll see.
BYU defense has been excellent throughout the season.
Yeah.
They held Texas Tech to a bunch of field goals and red zone possessions, which I'd like to see. I mean, BYU defense is not an issue here. Max Hoover, that's his name, right? I want to say the quarterback for TCU. No, it's not Max.
Yes.
It's
Hoover. It is Hoover, though.
It's Hoover.
I believe
just
it is
forgot
Max
his first
Hoover.
name. Might be Josh Hoover. But I really do. I like the guy. I
Correct.
mean, there's a
Josh
reason.
Hoover.
There's a reason why they're top 10 in the country passing. It just so happens that BYU's defense is also 33rd in the country in their pass game, allowing less than 200 yards per game. So it's a good elite versus elite matchup. I think if BYU can slow down Hoover, I think this game is like wraps for TCU because they got no run game whatsoever. And if they have to divulge to that, you're on mute. If they have to divulge to that, it's going to be...
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
If you're able to stop the quarterback, and exactly, they don't have a running game. TCU, if you're able to stop Hoover, able to stop that passing attack.
Yeah, it's going to be wraps for TCU. Here's the thing. BYU on offense, there's a couple of things that I saw. BYU has been able to rely on their rush game. TCU, actually, their one thing they got going for them on defense is their rush game, or their rush defense. They're allowing less than 4 yards per carry, 3.4 yards per carry on defense. That's 23rd in the country. 125 yards on the ground. That's also 35th in the country. So this is really not a great matchup actually for BYU on the ground. Something they've relied on very heavily. And then when all comes said and done, TCU not great on third down defense. BYU not great on third down offense either. Less than 40%. I mean, 85th in the country. That's one matchup that TCU might be able to end up on the better end on. If BYU ends up in a couple of third and long situations, this game plays out very differently for them, for a team that's relied on the run game. So I'm going to take TCU plus 3.5. I don't know. What are you taking?
I'm taking Baylor, or excuse me, not Baylor. BYU. I do like BYU in this matchup.
Okay.
I just think they're going to win the game, the 60-minute game, and I think they're going to come out and win by like 10 or so.
I want to finish off with another Big Ten matchup. Arizona going to Cincinnati. I wanted to highlight on this game because first of all, I just want to say publicly on the pod, I hate gambling on Arizona. I just want to say that I think
stay away.
I think the team is like the most utterly, disgustingly manipulative, emotionally manipulative situation. So I try to stay away from them. But this one is really tough. This one is really, really tough for me to stay away from. Arizona, 6.5-point dogs on the road at Cincinnati. And then Cincinnati. What? Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Cincinnati.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like they had the momentum early on in the year. Sorsby looked good. But they just really haven't been able to keep it moving, keep it going. And they're in a tough conference. They are. But the Big 12 has looked really good this year across the board. I mean, they have a powerhouse in there, and then BYU and Utah have been powerhouses in their own you know what I mean? Like, everybody's competing within that conference. I'm leaning more towards the Arizona side, but I really don't like either team in this matchup. I do think it's going to come down to like the fourth quarter for sure. It's going to be an ugly one. I do think so. I think it'll be an ugly game.
Yeah, I highlighted the big three things I highlighted here was Arizona has not been great at scoring in the red zone, specifically with their red zone touchdown offense. And they're going against a team, Cincinnati. The one thing that looks good on their defensive resume is how they perform in the red zone specifically. So, credit that defense for doing what they can to at least give an opportunity for Sorsby. Is Sorsby going to be able to throw the ball? I don't know. It's really tough. I also did not know Arizona is sporting a top 10 passing defense. I mean, really, they've been able to rush the ball with Sorsby's legs too a number of times. But if they're able to shut him down in the pass game and also contain him, this presents like serious issues. And I see that as a very real possibility. Arizona's defense has got a lot of green, brother. This is like a very, very good defense. And then more importantly, that defense is averaging 2 takeaways a game, 9th in the country. So that defense is creating more opportunities for Noah Fafita, whereas Cincinnati is 94th in the country in takeaways. I mean, they don't give the ball away.
You're able to give the ball to your offense more. You give the ball to your offense more, there's a higher likelihood of things happening. You know what I mean? If the defense is able to... So
they take advantage of it, and I see that playing out here. I'm gonna ride Arizona plus 6.5. I like Arizona to win outright here. Actually, I like Arizona to win. I actually, low key, I like TCU to win outright too. I'm not gonna lie. So I might ride that. That might be a two for one special. Who knows?
The 2 for 1s, 2 for 1ermans. Yeah, I'm leaning more on the Arizona side as well. Yeah, I just like their defense more. I think they're going to hold their own throughout the game.
You know what I love? I love that I tried to trim down the games, and we still spent almost an hour talking about them because it's college football.
It's November. It's November.
The games are crazy. Oklahoma, Alabama, Texas, Georgia. I mean, these games are going to be,
that Notre Dame Pittsburgh game, man.
I want to see all of you here on Monday morning for the Sunday after review on week 12.
Because I'm going to be so happy.
Yes. Well, we'll see.
When everything.
Some of your picks were a little bit different than mine. So, you guys, please like, comment, subscribe. If you do not subscribe to us, it's free and it's easy and it's fast.
It's free.
And you just click one button and then that's it. So,
and then you see all of our content all the time. It's so nice, so easy.
Yeah. And then you can see all of our... we are still planning... we'll talk. We'll talk. We got plans.
Hey, hold on.
Talk to me.
Next week.
Next week is the week.
Where are we
going to say, but I didn't know how we want to. Maybe we want to talk about it. We'll see. But we're going to talk. Week 13, we got stuff planned for you guys. Don't you worry. Okay? Maybe another one of those vlogs. We'll see.
Please.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. 100%. I'm going to get Mike to go. Mike's our producer.
Let's go.
You guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. We're gonna enjoy these week of picks, and we hope you guys did too. Shoot us a follow, shoot us a like. We love you guys. And until Monday. Peace.